All right, get ready because we're about to do a deep dive on Supa scent.
Yeah.
We're unpacking this pretty awesome interview from the Poor Minds YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
And
She's a fascinating person to listen to.
oh, absolutely. Trust me, this woman does not hold back. I mean, she's just a gold mine of like real talk.
Right.
And sharp insights. And, you probably know her from way back when, like as an OG influencer.
Yeah.
And she built this whole beauty empire.
Hmm.
But Supa scent, let me tell you, is so much more than that.
Oh.
She's a philanthropist, she's a mom, and she is a master storyteller. I mean,
especially like in her story time videos, those are like it's her thing.
Like raw and honest
Yes.
story time videos, that's what she's known for.
Absolutely. She really puts it all out there.
Doesn't shy away from anything, especially not her relationships, which is what we're going to be talking about today. And, get this, she's got some pretty strong opinions about dating. Have you ever heard of this term, spinning the block?
I'm not sure I have.
So basically, it's when you revisit past relationships.
Okay.
For like convenience or just because it's familiar.
Right.
Even if you know it's probably not going to work out.
Right. Kind of going back to the same well.
Exactly.
Even though the well might be dry.
And she calls herself a spin blocker.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she admits it. She's like, I spin the block.
Wow. That's honest.
But, at the same time, she also really emphasizes that every relationship, even the short ones, they offer valuable lessons.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder what she means by that.
Well, I mean, she even says sometimes men come into your life to teach you a lesson.
It makes you think.
Yeah, like what is the purpose of every relationship, right?
It really does.
Even the ones that like flame out super fast.
Yeah.
Maybe those experiences are actually the things that are shaping who we become and like what we're looking for in the future.
I like that. That's a good way to look at it, yeah.
And speaking of partners, she also shares this pretty wild story about her first experience dating a white man.
Oh, we're going to have to hear that one.
Yes. We'll get to that a little bit later.
Okay.
But first, I want to touch on how this kind of ties into this bigger conversation about cultural appropriation in fashion.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm interested in hearing that.
So remember that whole controversy with the Kim Kardashian Skims line?
Vaguely, yeah.
I mean, some people were calling it ghetto when it was styled with certain types of footwear.
Yeah.
And Supa was not having it. She was quick to point out that double standard.
That's right. I think I remember that now.
Yeah. She basically was like, why is it that when Black women rock a certain style, it's ghetto, but when others do it, it's trendy?
That's such a good point.
And it's like this powerful statement about how Black women's creativity is often dismissed or appropriated.
Absolutely, yeah. And that brings up some really interesting questions.
Yeah.
Like, what does the word ghetto even mean? And who gets to decide what's trendy and what's not?
Right. And how do these labels, I mean, they perpetuate inequalities. It's like
totally
this whole cycle.
Yeah, it's messed up.
And Supa and the Poor Minds hosts, they get into this pretty funny and maybe a little awkward debate about what actually qualifies as ghetto behavior.
Oh, I love this.
And they're mainly focusing on like wearing bonnets in public and going barefoot outside.
Oh, this is going to be good.
Supa even says, when I see a bonnet in public, I'm like, oh, she probably has something to do.
That's funny.
It is funny, but
I bet there's like a deeper meaning there too, right?
It does touch on some deeper issues about class and race and just how society judges people based on their appearance.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's like we can't just wear a bonnet to the store.
Right.
Okay, so I want to circle back to this whole spinning the block thing.
Yeah, let's talk more about that.
Because Supa is, I mean, she's surprisingly candid about her dating life and her views on relationships.
Yeah.
And she even says, and I quote, "I'm a spin blocker. I'm gonna spin the block. I don't got time to get to know new niggas."
Wow. She's straight up.
That's Supa scent for you.
I mean, it sounds harsh, but there's also like a confidence there.
Yeah, and self-awareness.
Right.
I mean, she recognizes her patterns, her tendencies.
And she owns it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's not trying to sugarcoat anything.
Nope.
Or pretend that she has it all figured out.
No, not at all.
And, she also makes this really interesting point about how men need to be like active daters.
Okay.
And they need to know how to court a woman.
Interesting.
Which I think is a really valid point.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if that ties into her whole spinning the block thing.
Oh, that's a really good point.
Like, maybe she's drawn to men who are also comfortable playing the field.
Right. Maybe she subconsciously seeks out partners who are on the same wavelength.
Yeah, who get it.
When it comes to dating and relationships.
And would understand that dynamic.
Exactly.
And it makes us think about our own dating patterns, too.
Yeah.
Like, are we drawn to people who are comfortable dating around, or are we looking for something more serious?
Yeah.
And what does that say about us?
Right. And, speaking of evolving values, her current engagement, it does seem to suggest a bit of a shift in her perspective.
Oh, so she's engaged now.
Yeah, she is, yeah.
Okay.
And she kind of implies that it's different this time because she's found someone who's on her level.
Oh, I see. Like she's leveled up in her understanding of what a relationship can be.
Yeah, exactly. She's not just looking for someone who's fun to date anymore.
Right.
It seems like she's seeking something deeper.
A real partnership.
A true partnership, a sense of equality,
Makes sense.
Which is amazing. It sounds like she's really grown and learned from her past relationships.
Yeah, it's inspiring.
But before we get into the Kim Kardashian controversy and the whole ghetto debate, I want to take a quick break to hear from our sponsor.
Sounds good. It's really interesting how she's kind of leveled up in like both her personal life and her business life.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
They seem to mirror each other a little bit.
Yeah, and speaking of her entrepreneurial journey, can we just talk about how she built the crayon case from the ground up?
It's a really inspiring story.
It's amazing.
It all started because she recognized that there was like this gap in the market for makeup that was affordable. But still high quality.
Right.
And that really catered to like a wider range of skin tones.
Right. She saw an opportunity to like create something that wasn't already being offered.
Exactly. And she was brilliant at using her platform as an influencer to like build that hype and connect directly with her audience.
And she wasn't just selling a product.
No.
She was building a community.
Right. A whole movement. And what's even more remarkable is that she did all of this without any outside investors.
Yeah. She poured her own money back into the business.
Huge risk.
Huge risk, but obviously it paid off big time.
Definitely.
But she's been super open about like the challenges that she faced along the way.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Remember that whole thing with getting the crayon case into Walmart?
Oh, yeah. How could I forget?
Seemed like a dream come true, but it ended up being this huge headache.
It's kind of a cautionary tale.
Yeah.
For entrepreneurs who are thinking about scaling up.
Right. Because sometimes that rapid growth can be just as challenging as slow growth.
Exactly.
And she was talking about like the constant pressure to keep those shelves stocked and like the financial penalties if she didn't meet Walmart's expectations.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
It really put a strain on her resources, especially since she was funding everything herself.
That's a lot of pressure.
It is. And it's interesting how that experience kind of shaped her views on investors.
Yeah, how so?
She talks about how, like, in the Black community, there's often this stigma around Black businesses seeking outside funding.
Yeah, like they're selling out.
Right, but she challenges that whole narrative.
Good for her.
She argues that investors can be crucial for growth and expansion. She even points out that white entrepreneurs are much more likely to leverage other people's money.
Oh, for sure.
To build their businesses.
Yeah.
And she sees that as a key factor in their ability to scale quickly and achieve success.
It's true.
And, there's a lot of wisdom in her perspectives.
I think so, too.
Because she's saying that, like, seeking investment isn't selling out.
Right.
It's about, like, accessing the resources that you need to take your business to that next level.
It makes sense.
And she's living proof that you can stay true to your vision and your values, even while navigating the complexities of the business world. She has never compromised her commitment to creating products that cater to diverse communities.
Right.
And, like, empowering aspiring entrepreneurs. And it's so interesting how this kind of ties back to the conversation about cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
Because Supa is not only reclaiming narratives around Black entrepreneurship, but she's also challenging those beauty standards that have historically excluded people of color.
It's about time someone did.
And, I want to dive into, like, her marketing strategies.
Oh,
because she dropped some serious gems in this interview.
I'm ready.
Like her approach to working with micro-influencers over those big-name celebrities.
I'm really curious to hear what she has to say about that.
Yeah, it's incredibly insightful.
Okay.
So for those who might not know, micro-influencers are individuals who have a smaller, but like a highly engaged following on social media.
Got it.
And Supa believes that they offer genuine enthusiasm, they offer loyalty, and they offer high-quality content creation, all without the crazy fees of celebrity endorsements.
No.
She explains that micro-influencers are often, like, hungry to prove themselves.
Yeah, I can see that.
And they're more likely to go the extra mile to create that authentic content.
It makes sense.
And plus, by working with them, she's actually helping them grow their own audiences.
Oh, that's really cool.
So it's like this win-win approach.
I like that.
And this strategy actually aligns perfectly with how influencer marketing is changing.
In what way?
Well, I mean, consumers are becoming more like discerning and skeptical of just like overly polished, obviously sponsored content.
Yeah, we can all see through that.
We can, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're craving authenticity and connection.
Makes sense.
And micro-influencers can actually deliver that in a way that just feels more genuine.
And relatable.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And she really emphasizes like the importance of building that dedicated community and nurturing those relationships. She even suggests like coming up with a specific name for her community.
Really?
Yeah, like the Muse Squabblers or something.
That's a good idea.
I know, right? Like create that sense of belonging.
Exactly, like a shared identity.
It's clever.
And it's clearly working for her. Like her brand is thriving.
Yeah.
Her community is incredibly engaged and supportive.
That's awesome.
And it's just proof that building those genuine connections is more valuable than chasing after followers.
Or likes. Exactly.
It's all about quality over quantity.
I love that. Quality over quantity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Supa's story, it's like this masterclass in authentic branding.
And community building.
And it's something that anyone can learn from.
Absolutely.
Whether you're an entrepreneur or an artist or just someone who wants to connect with like-minded people.
I think so too.
Now, before we move on to her more personal reflections.
Okay.
And that crazy story about her first experience dating a white man.
Can't wait.
Let's take a moment to like recap some of her key business insights. I mean, we've covered a lot.
We have.
From her journey bootstrapping to her use of micro-influencers. But I think like the overall theme here is just her unwavering belief in herself and her vision.
Yeah, I mean, even when faced with challenges and setbacks and industry norms, she never like gave up on creating a brand that reflected her values.
Absolutely.
And that's really inspiring.
It is, especially for anyone who feels like they're on the outside looking in.
Right.
Like Supa's story is proof that you can create your own path to success, even if it means challenging the status quo.
Totally.
What about you? Have any of Supa's business insights like resonated with you?
Yeah, actually, her approach to community building is something I've been thinking about a lot lately.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you've had a similar experience with rapid growth or, you know, faced some challenges when working with bigger companies. I mean, we'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. Feel free to share your takeaways in the comments.
Yeah, or send us a message.
We're all about building a community of learners and entrepreneurs here.
That's right.
So we talked about Supa's business, you know, her take on cultural appropriation and even her unique...
Her colorful dating history.
Yeah, colorful dating style. But you know what really makes her stand out to me, I think, is how willing she is to be, like, open and vulnerable with her audience.
Oh, yeah, definitely. She's not afraid to, like, show the messier parts of your life, the insecurities, even some of the things she's maybe not so proud of.
Yeah.
And I think that's so refreshing in a world where everyone is trying to present this perfect image online.
Totally. It's like she's not putting on a facade.
Yeah.
She's just herself, flaws and all.
Right. And I think that's such a powerful message for young people who are constantly bombarded with these like unrealistic expectations of perfection on social media.
Yeah, it's like a breath of fresh air.
It is. It reminds us that it's okay to not have it all figured out.
Yeah.
To make mistakes.
To be human.
Yeah, to embrace the messy parts of ourselves.
Like, remember when she was talking about, like, staking out her ex-boyfriend's job?
Oh, my gosh. Like, hiding in the bushes to see who was dropping him off.
Classic.
I mean, it's hilarious.
It is.
But it's also, like, so relatable.
We've all been there.
Yeah, like, we've all done things we're not exactly proud of when we're hurting or...
You know, try and make sense of a situation.
Yeah, and, you know, her willingness to share those moments, to laugh at herself, it just makes her feel so human.
Totally.
And, you know, she's not just being vulnerable about her personal life. Yeah. She's also really open about some of the more, I don't know, awkward realities of being a woman.
Okay, like what?
Do you remember that whole conversation about vaginal dryness?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it might have been TMI for some people.
Yeah, maybe.
But I think it's important to, like, normalize those conversations.
Absolutely.
I mean, so many women experience these issues, but we're often too embarrassed to even talk about them.
That's true. It's like a taboo subject.
And Supa's not afraid to break those taboos, you know?
Nope.
And create that space for open and honest dialogue. About women's health, sexuality.
Yeah, and she does it with humor and grace.
Yeah, which makes it a lot less intimidating.
Totally.
She's really good at making people feel comfortable.
Speaking of using her platform for good,
Yeah.
can we talk about her work with Hurricane Ida relief efforts in Louisiana?
Oh, yeah, that was amazing.
She was on the ground helping people rebuild their lives.
It wasn't just a one-time thing either.
No, she's consistently using her influence and her resources to support her community and advocate for causes she believes in.
Exactly. She's a great example of how we can all use our platforms, no matter how big or small, to make a positive impact.
And let's not forget all her work promoting financial literacy.
Oh, yeah, right.
And entrepreneurship, especially for women and people of color.
She's all about empowerment.
She is. She's constantly encouraging her followers to invest in themselves, to build their businesses, to break free from those limiting beliefs.
Yeah, she's a true inspiration.
You know, she shows us that success isn't just about money or fame.
Right.
It's about empowering others and creating opportunities for those who have been marginalized.
Absolutely.
I love how she weaves together her personal experiences with her business and her passion for social justice.
It's inspiring.
It's a powerful reminder that our lives are interconnected and that we can use all aspects of ourselves to make a difference.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So, as we kind of wrap up this deep dive into the world of Supa, I want to leave you with this thought. What's your story?
That's a good question.
What are you passionate about? And how can you use your unique gifts and experiences to create positive change in the world?
Take a page from Supa's book.
Be bold, be authentic, never be afraid to embrace your messy, imperfect, perfectly human self.
And remember, even if you find yourself spinning the block every now and then,
there's always an opportunity to learn, grow, and evolve.
Become the best version of yourself.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Supa.
We hope you enjoyed it.
We hope you learned something new, laughed a little, and maybe even got inspired to create some positive change in your own life.
Until next time.
Keep it real, keep it fun, and keep learning.